Welcome to today's webcast on SOLIDWORKS CAM. I am Amanda Osbun. Before we get started, I just want to let you know that you can submit questions by typing them into the Q&A panel at any time. I will address them at the end of the presentation. So, just a little bit about my background here. My name is Amanda Osbun. I am a SOLIDWORKS expert. I have about 4 years of SOLIDWORKS experience. I do have 15 SOLIDWORKS certifications, including SOLIDWORKS CAM Specialist, and I've been in tech support now for about 3 years. So on today's agenda, we're basically going to be going over the packages of SOLIDWORKS CAM, the functionality of SOLIDWORKS CAM Standard, Professional, and a little bit in CAMWorks. And I'll also show you a demonstration. Okay, so SOLIDWORKS CAM does come in SOLIDWORKS CAM Standard and SOLIDWORKS CAM Professional. So SOLIDWORKS CAM Standard, in order to get this, you have to be on active maintenance subscription. And in order to get SOLIDWORKS CAM Professional, that is a separate purchase. So both of these packages will work with any level of SOLIDWORKS, so Standard, Professional, or Premium. The only thing is you do have to have SOLIDWORKS 2018 or newer. So let's get into the functionality of SOLIDWORKS CAM. So now this is common functionality between both Standard and Professional here. So you're going to get, your programming is going to be associated to the model. So anytime you change the model, SOLIDWORKS CAM is going to give you a warning and ask you if you would like to update your toolpaths. You also get what's called interactive feature recognition. This allows you to go in and choose specific features that you might want to program as opposed to automatic feature recognition, which when you choose the automatic feature recognition button, extract machinable features, SOLIDWORKS CAM is going to go ahead and recognize all features within the part. So when we talk about automatic feature recognition, what are we talking about? What kind of features are we talking about recognizing? So things like holes, slots, pockets, and bosses. So that's what we're talking about when we say features. You also get what's called knowledge-based machining. So with SOLIDWORKS CAM, you can actually standardize your toolpaths to improve quality, and you can also help new programmers become quickly productive. And so the way that we do that, basically the process here, is that your machinist knows the best practices for your company, right? And then they can capture those best practices and save them to the technology database. And then they can be referenced later when you choose automatic feature recognition, and SOLIDWORKS CAM will automatically select those machining strategies. You also get what's called tolerance-based machining. Basically, tolerance-based machining leverages your DIM expert dimensions and your PMI data to select the correct machining strategies. So it's worth noting here that SOLIDWORKS CAM is currently the only CAM solution out there that can utilize PDM data to program. Also within SOLIDWORKS CAM, you get simulation so that you can simulate your toolpath and see if there's any collisions going on, see if the toolpath is acting appropriately, make sure that your the shank of the tool, the cutter of the tool, the holder of the tool are not colliding, things like that. You also get the Simco editor, in which you can, again, you'll simulate, you can simulate the toolpaths in here, and you can also go ahead and edit your G code within the Simco editor. We talked about the technology database a little bit before when we were talking about knowledge-based machining. So in here in the technology database, here's where you can save any machines that you put in, you can save your tool cribs that you make, and you can save any strategies, operations that you make in your tech database. You also get limited 3-axis surfacing, so things like Z-level, area clearance, and flat area are strategies that you'll be able to find within SOLIDWORKS CAM. Okay, so let's talk specifically about SOLIDWORKS CAM Standard. So what 2.5 axis machines are we talking about when we say we're a 2.5 axis solution? So we're talking about things like mills, routers, lasers, plasma cutters, and water jets. So SOLIDWORKS CAM Standard is a 2.5 axis milling solution for single parts only. Okay, so if we wanted to machine multiple parts, we would need to upgrade to SOLIDWORKS CAM Professional. So it is for single parts. And what kind of operations are we talking about here? We're actually talking about facing, pocketing, contouring, drilling, and tapping are all things that we can do within SOLIDWORKS CAM Standard. So now let's transition. We'll talk about SOLIDWORKS CAM Professional. So within SOLIDWORKS CAM Professional, you get everything that's included within SOLIDWORKS CAM Standard, plus the ability to machine assemblies as well. So this adds, you can put fixtures in here, you can put your vices in here, and you can check for a collision between those as well. You can also machine configurations. You also get 3+2 machining, or 3+2 positioning. So basically you can position your parts using SOLIDWORKS CAM Professional. So this is not a multi-axis solution. This is simply for positioning. So still only 2 axes moving simultaneously at any one time, but you can use this to position your multi-axis machines. You also get volume mill, which is just SOLIDWORKS CAM's high-speed machining strategy. And you get 2.5 axis turning operations, so things like facing, roughing, finish grooving, and cutoffs. In assemblies, you can machine multiple parts, and you can include vices or fixtures. For high-speed machining, basically this just reduces your cycle times, and it cuts your parts a lot faster. It also reduces your tool stress, so it can improve the life of your tools as well. Basically, we're able to reduce heat buildup and chip load, and that can decrease the wear and tear on your tools. Okay, so this is a pretty important one, especially for beginners in CAM. The post-processor, we actually get a lot of questions about post-processors in tech support. So basically you have SOLIDWORKS CAM, right? And SOLIDWORKS CAM is creating this G-code, and it's got to talk to the machine. But in order to talk to the machine, we need something to translate it in order to talk to your machines. And that's where the post-processor actually comes in. So you always have to have a post or post-processor. SOLIDWORKS CAM comes with about 35 generic milling posts and 15 generic turning posts. We'll get to that in just a second. You can use the universal post generator and NC editor as well to help you customize these things, customize your post processors, customize your G code. CAMWorks does provide custom posts if you need them, and CAMWorks posts will integrate with SOLIDWORKS CAM. So just a list here of all the pre-installed post processors. If anyone is curious about which post processors are included with SOLIDWORKS CAM. So these are the mill post processors here. And I'll go into the turning post processors here. These are, again, the pre-installed generic post processors that come with SOLIDWORKS CAM. The turning post processors, again, will only come with CAM Professional. So SOLIDWORKS CAM benefits. SOLIDWORKS CAM is fully integrated with SOLIDWORKS. So there's no more data translation, nothing's lost in translation because it's all right within SOLIDWORKS. The CAM information is stored right within the part or assembly file. So if I needed to save my part and send everything, including my toolpath, over to one of my coworkers, I can do that. The NC code can be stored in PDM. So if you guys have some kind of product data management system, this can be stored in PDM. You get knowledge-based machining, which again allows the company to define standard practices so that your programming is consistent. And again, we also talked about how we can get new programmers up and running much quicker. We also reduce the initial programming time because we do have automatic feature recognition, which again automatically recognizes your features and assigns the appropriate machining strategies. We can easily update our programs when we have design changes. Again, everything is fully associated. And we can use the assembly environment to model fixtures. So if we needed to show our vices and things like that, we can. Again, that's in SOLIDWORKS CAM Professional. So just really quickly, what SOLIDWORKS CAM doesn't do, it does not do 3-axis simultaneous machining. It does not do 4-axis, and it does not do 5-axis. Okay, so things like that we would need to upgrade actually to CAMWorks. So just quickly, if you wanted to see the CAMWorks product structure, we're kind of down over in this area right over here. We're talking about today SOLIDWORKS CAM Standard and SOLIDWORKS CAM Professional. But there is CAMWorks Standard here, and then you can get into some much higher levels of machining down here with CAMWorks Premium. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into our demo. So I'm going to go ahead. I have SOLIDWORKS CAM 2019 open right here. I just have this part that was created in SOLIDWORKS. You can see I've got the whole feature tree in here. I also have a coordinate system defined. It's just important to note that you don't need to have a SOLIDWORKS coordinate system defined in order to do this, but you can. Okay, so let's go ahead into my SOLIDWORKS CAM feature tree here. So you have the SOLIDWORKS feature tree, right, where we see all of the created features, and then we also have what's called the SOLIDWORKS CAM feature tree, and this is where any features that SOLIDWORKS recognizes to be machined will show up here. Okay, so if I go ahead, if I wanted to start programming this part here, I would start with my machine. So I'm just going to double click on machine here. And I'm going to let this machine window pop up here. I'm going to choose my mill metric machine here. You can see because I have SOLIDWORKS CAM Professional, I also have the ability to select a turn machine, but because this is not set up for that, we actually want to use a mill to machine this. So I'm going to go ahead and choose my mill metric machine. I want to make sure when I'm selecting machines, I choose the select button. Then I'm going to come over here to my tool crib tab. I'm just going to use the tool crib 2 right here. So I just make sure I choose the select button just to make sure that it is selected. And when I do that, you can see all the tools that are associated with tool crib 2. I then come over here. Remember we talked about post processors and how those are very, very important. We have to choose our post processor in order to make sure we tell SOLIDWORKS CAM how to translate our G code. So in this instance, I'm just going to keep with M3-axis tutorial, and I'll just hit the select button just to make sure that that's selected. Okay, that's about it for this this window here. So basically we went through, we chose our machine, we chose our tool crib, and we chose our post processor. So I'll click OK here. And the next thing I want to do is just set up my stock manager. So I have to tell SOLIDWORKS what my starting stock is going to look like. So I'll double click on Stock Manager. And we can see here The first thing is the material, so I can choose a different material if I wanted to. I'm just going to stick with 6061 T6, which is just the default that SOLIDWORKS comes in with. Then my stock type, I can choose bounding box. I can choose to extrude my stock from a sketch. I can choose to import an STL file. And I can also choose to import another part file to be the placeholder for my stock. So in this instance, I'm just going to keep with bounding box. You can add stock, you can add, material to the sides if you would like to. I think I'm just going to leave this the way that it is for right now. And I'll click OK. Okay, the last thing that I do need to define is my coordinate system. So I'll go ahead and I'll double click on coordinate system here. Now in this case, I already have a coordinate system defined. Over here you can see it in my graphics window. I do have a coordinate system defined already. But if I didn't, I could choose an entity, so like one of the holes or a corner. I could choose the part bounding box. You can see these little nodes come up. So I can choose that. Or I could choose the stock bounding box. I could also create a coordinate system if I wanted to as well. In this instance, though, I do have a coordinate system defined, so I'm going to go ahead over to the method here. I'm going to choose SOLIDWORKS coordinate system. And then you can see here the available coordinate systems are listed. Okay, so I'll just click on the coordinate system 1, and then that coordinate system becomes my selected coordinate system here. So then I'll click OK here. And now I have everything set up to start extracting my machinable features, recognizing my features. So I'm going to go ahead and choose my Extract Machinable Features button right up here. So I'll choose Extract Machinable Features. And this comes in and recognizes the different features on this part. Now, if I wanted to make sure that I was only selecting certain things, if I only wanted SOLIDWORKS CAM to recognize certain features, I could do that as well. If I wanted to, I could go over here. My screen isn't wide enough, so it doesn't show all the tools, so I have to come to this double chevron at the top here and choose my SOLIDWORKS CAM options and go to my Mill Features tab. And you can see here feature types, and you can see any features that have a tick next to them allow SOLIDWORKS CAM to recognize them. So you can see that I just don't have the part perimeter selected right now. So it did not recognize the part perimeter. Okay, once I have my features here, I can go ahead and generate my operation plan. Now you'll notice that I have a mill part setup 1, and I also have a mill part setup 2. So it's down at the bottom there. So that's if we were to flip this over and machine the other side. At this point, I'm just going to go ahead and delete that. We're just going to work from one mill part setup here. We're just going to work from the one side in this example here. So I'll go ahead and I'll delete that. And you can see when I do that, I have that second, all those extra operations, I have them in the recycling bin down here. If I right-click on that recycling bin, I can restore them if I want to. And I can just empty the recycling bin altogether to get rid of them. Okay, so now I have my features recognized here. So I'm going to go ahead and generate my operation plan. And when this is happening, SOLIDWORKS is just selecting the appropriate strategies for this part. Again, right now, it's just going to go into the default strategies because I did not set up any special strategies beforehand. So it's just going to go right into the default strategies. And then I can choose Generate Toolpath. And now you can see when I hover over these guys, you can see that I have toolpaths here. You can see the actual toolpath right in the graphics window over here. Okay, if I wanted to, if I needed to, I could sort these operations. So I can go, I can choose my mill part setup here. I can choose sort operations and then choose sort. And I could sort these by operation type and then by tool, or I could just sort them by operation type. In this instance, I'm just going to sort them by operation type. So let's just say I wanted my rough mills followed by my contour mills, or my finishing operations there. And then I can choose apply and OK. And then you can see I have my rough mills first, followed by my finishing operations. If I wanted to, I could also move these manually. So let's just say I want to click on one of these and drag them. I can drag them in order to move them around in order to make this the most efficient program that I possibly can. Okay, so once we have that down, we can go ahead and just simulate this toolpath. So I'm going to choose Simulate Toolpath here. And I'm going to speed this up just for the presentation here. So you can see the light blue here is our stock. And I just set that over here so the stock is on a translucent display here. So I did just set that right here. You can do that for the stock, you can do that for the tool, the holder, and for the part as well. And in your assembly, you can also set the display style for your fixtures as well. So I'll go ahead and hit play here. You can see that SOLIDWORKS CAM is simulating the part being machined, so that way we can see if there's anything that was missed or anything that we have to go over again, and make sure that nothing is colliding. So we can also make sure that our tool isn't colliding. We can make sure that the shank isn't colliding, and we can also make sure that the holder is not colliding as well. Okay, so we've got that down. So I'll click OK there. So we've seen our simulation. Now, let's say that I needed to change something about this part. Well, I can actually very easily change this part. So first I want to just show you here. Here's the tool path here. Actually, I don't like that angle. There we go. So I can see that tool path here. Okay. And if I wanted to go ahead and maybe let's change the let's maybe change the depth of this here. So I'm going to just double click on this part here. And you can see that when I double click on this feature here, I have the dimensions that pop up. So right now this is at a depth of 15 millimeters. So let's go ahead, let's drastically change this. So I'm going to go from 15, I'm going to go down to 5. And I'll click OK there. Now you can see it doesn't look like anything happens just yet. I do have to do a Control Q to make sure that the geometry does update. Okay, and then when I go back to my SOLIDWORKS CAM feature tree, I do get a window, a warning that pops up. It says SOLIDWORKS CAM data needs to be updated. Do you want to proceed with the rebuild? So I'm going to click OK here. And you can see when I do that, we can see, here we go, we can see that when I choose that operation that previously was a lot deeper, you can see that SOLIDWORKS CAM did update this automatically for us. Okay, so again, everything is fully associated to the part, so that way any changes that you make will be updated. Okay, so that concludes our demo here. But if you guys have any questions, please let me know.